Hi guys and welcome to the channel. Today we listen to a disturbing, true Reddit story. Sit back, relax, pop on your headphones and enjoy. Story title: The coffee shop stalker. I first saw her on a cold November evening, walking home alone through the dimly lit streets. She moved with a quiet grace, oblivious to the world around her. Her long coat billowed slightly in the wind, her hair catching the glow of the flickering streetlights. I don't know what it was about her that caught my attention, but in that moment, something shifted inside me. At first, I told myself it was curiosity, nothing more. I had no intention of getting close, no real reason to watch her beyond that fleeting interest. But as the days passed, I found myself searching for her without realizing it. I adjusted my routine to match hers. I knew what time she left for work, what time she came home. She had a habit of stopping by a small coffee shop on the corner of Lexington and Pine, always ordering the same drink, a vanilla latte with exactly 1 sugar. She was beautiful in a quiet, unassuming way. Not the kind of beauty that turned heads on the street, but something softer, something you had to really look at to appreciate. And I did look. I watched her from a distance, my presence as invisible as the breath in the night air. The first time I followed her home, it wasn't planned. She left the coffee shop, the steam from her cup rising into the cold air, and I just walked behind her. Not too close, not close enough to be noticed. Her apartment building was old, bricks weathered with time, the windows slightly fogged from the heat inside. I watched her unlock the door and disappear. I should have left it at that, but I didn't. It became routine, a ritual. I lingered near her apartment, just out of sight. I listened to the sound of her footsteps in the hallway, memorized the way the light in her bedroom flicked on at the same time every night. I could see her silhouette through the curtains, moving about her room, completely unaware that I was watching. It felt good, knowing her without her knowing me. One night I got bolder. The lock on the building's front door was old, easy to force with just a little pressure. I stepped inside, the warmth of the hallway wrapping around me like a blanket. The air smelled like dust and something faintly floral. Her perfume, maybe. I stood outside her door listening, the soft hum of a television, the occasional rustling of fabric. My fingers twitched, itching to turn the knob, just to see if it was locked, just to know how easy it would be to slip inside. But I wasn't ready, not yet. I took a step back, forcing myself to leave. That night, I dreamt about her, about what it would be like to stand beside her, to reach out and touch her hair, to whisper her name even though I didn't know it. I woke up with my heart pounding. The need grew stronger after that. Watching wasn't enough anymore. I wanted more. I started leaving little things behind. A single flower on her doorstep, a note tucked into her mailbox with no words, just a blank page. A button from my coat placed carefully on the windowsill outside her apartment. I wondered if she noticed, if she felt the weight of my presence the way I felt hers. Then something changed. She started looking over her shoulder when she walked home, pausing before unlocking her door, lingering by the window, peering into the darkness as if she sensed me there. She knew. She didn't know who, but she knew someone was watching. I should have stopped. I should have disappeared from her life before she could find out the truth. But the fear in her eyes only made me want her more. One night, I found her standing outside the coffee shop, phone pressed to her ear, speaking in hushed tones. I stayed in the shadows, listening. "I think someone's following me," she whispered. "I don't know, it's just a feeling, like someone's always there, just out of sight." The person on the other end said something I couldn't hear. "No, I haven't seen anyone," she said, "but I know I'm not imagining it." She was scared. It made my pulse race. I had to be more careful, more patient. If I wanted this to last, I couldn't rush. That night, I stood outside her building longer than usual, staring up at her window. The light was off, but I could see a faint outline of her curled up in bed. I imagined slipping inside, standing at the foot of her bed, watching her sleep. I wanted to know what she looked like up close, the details I couldn't see from a distance, the curve of her lips, the shape of her hands, the way her eyelashes fluttered against her skin when she dreamed. It wasn't enough to watch anymore. The next night, I waited until she was asleep. I forced the front door open as quietly as before, my footsteps light on the stairs. Her apartment door was locked, But I had planned for that. I had been studying her for weeks. I knew she kept a spare key hidden in a potted plant beside the door. It took less than a second to retrieve it, less than a breath to slide it into the lock. The door opened with a soft click. The apartment smelled like her, warm and sweet, with a hint of something deeper beneath it. I stepped inside, closing the door behind me. The glow from the streetlights seeped through the curtains, casting long shadows across the room. She was asleep. Her chest rose and fell in slow, steady breaths. Her lips were slightly parted, her hair a dark halo around her face. I stepped closer. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure she would wake up and hear it. I reached out, my fingers inches from her cheek. I could feel the warmth of her skin, even without touching it. And then she stirred. I froze. Her eyelashes fluttered. A soft sigh escaped her lips. I took a step back, slipping into the shadows before she could wake fully. My heart was racing as I crept back to the door, locking it behind me as I left. I barely slept that night. I had been so close. And I knew, soon I wouldn't be able to stop myself. The thought sent a shiver down my spine. Because the truth was, I didn't want to stop. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. All support is much appreciated. Much love, guys.